This video is 10 Easter eggs, callbacks, or references you may have missed in the first episode, Dragonstone, but you probably didn't miss because you know your shit. Number 1. But. Really, it's just the little things that make me so happy. So in the first episode, after they have the meeting with the Northerners, John and Sansa get into a little bit of a heated discussion. Sansa ends up complimenting John, but then uses the word but. John laughs and recalls what his father used to say about that word.
You do, but you have to... Why are you laughing?
What did Father used to say? Everything before the word but is horse shit.
This was an amazing callback to Season 1 with Benjen Stark, who said a very similar thing to Tyrion about the word but and what Ned Stark used to say about it.
I have great admiration for you as First Ranger.
You know, my brother once told me that nothing someone says before the word but really counts.
But, moving on. Number 2. No ale. Speaking of callbacks, the writers remembered a very simple thing this episode. There was no ale in the farmer's house that Arya and the Hound had stayed at.
You got any ale? Afraid not.
In the Season 7 premiere, when the Brotherhood without banners and the Hound arrive at the same house, Thoros asks the same question the Hound had, and he remembers the answer.
Come on. Maybe they got some ale hidden away.
They don't.
Number 3. Dragon glass cures grayscale. Okay, maybe a stretch, but those with keen eyes may have noticed a certain page in a book that Sam took from the restricted Maester section. It is hard to make the whole thing out, but it looks like the page says consuming dragon glass can cure ailments. This may mean our sweet, sweet Jorbear will be cured at the Citadel by eating dragon glass. Thank God. Number 4. Cat's Paw. Speaking of that book, we also saw something else a bit suspicious. This photo shockingly looks just like Littlefinger's Valyrian steel dagger, often called Cat's Paw by the fans, that was used in an assassination attempt on Bran in Season 1. The dagger that Arya has had on her in a bunch of promo images for Season 7. What does this mean? How important is this dagger? How does Arya get it? And who will it be used for? Or what? Number 5. Dynasty. This episode really was full of callbacks and nods to previous episodes, showing a great deal of detail. So when Cersei is talking about building a dynasty, she almost exactly mirrors Tywin's words to Jaime during the War of the Five Kings.
I understand whoever wins could launch a dynasty that lasts 1,000 years.
Establish a dynasty that will last 1,000 years.
Maybe that is part of why Jaime looks so off-put by Cersei. He knows how well dynasty building went for Tywin in the end. Number 6. Winter Came. The opening of Season 7 was perhaps one of the best. Frey Justice. But if you listen to Arya's speech, she said something pretty important.
When people ask you what happened here, tell them the North remembers. Tell them winter came for House Frey.
Winter is Coming is the house words of House Stark and generally thought to be a warning of the cold, deadly season.
Winter is coming. Winter is coming. Winter's coming. Winter's coming.
However, we see in this episode another meaning for it that fans have often speculated on. Winter is Coming is also a warning or a threat to those that would mess with House Stark. Do it, and we'll kill you. Funny enough, another Stark has used their house words as a threat before.
Lord Tywin, winter is coming for him. 20,000 Northerners marching south to find out if he really does shit gold.
Number 7. Ed Sheeran's Song. Some people were really freaking out about Ed's cameo, but I was way too distracted by the song he was singing. This is actually a song in A Storm of Swords made up by Simon Silvertongue, who was trying to blackmail Tyrion with his information of his and Shay's relationship. Tyrion eventually has Bronn kill the singer to prevent the blackmailing. While this is definitely not the route they're going in the show, Tyrion has likely never heard this song and Shay is long dead, it was still a nice nod to the books. Number 8. Archmaester Empress. You may have been so distracted by the Hogwarts professor that you didn't notice he was playing an important Archmaester from the books, Ebrose. An Archmaester highly skilled in medicine and the human body. He is the one that gives training maesters their link in the arts of healing. He is incredibly kind in the books, and we can see that same kindness in the show. Also, if you saw my Do Not Visit panel at Con of Thrones, he studied butterfly fever. Number 9, Gravedigger. While we got confirmation last season that the Hound was in fact alive, this season they took it a step further and gave us a very special treat. We see in the premiere the Hound burying the dead he had stole the silver from seasons before. This is a nod to the Gravedigger theory, a belief that in the books the Gravedigger mentioned is actually the Hound and still alive. While in the show, we know the Hound is alive and he's definitely not a novice living in a monastery, it's understandable they changed his storyline in the show. After all, he is a fan favorite, and gave him a bigger role. However, in the books, it's still not certain if he is alive, but this gives us more hope that he is in fact the Gravedigger mentioned in the books. Number 10, God's Justice. Going back to the farmer that the Hound stole from, I seem to really like the Hound this list. After the Red Wedding, when Arya and the Hound are at the farmer's house, the farmer mentions about how the phrase broke guests right, and that the gods will have their vengeance.
Red Wedding, they're calling it. Lord Frey committed sacrilege that day. He shared bread and salt with the Starks. He offered them guest right.
Guest right don't mean much anymore.
It means something to me. The gods will have their vengeance.
In the same episode, Arya does just that, punishes the Freys for their breaking of guests' right and slaughtering her family and their men. The Hound ends back up at the home of the farmer. Coincidence? I think not. You might also go a step further and say that since Arya is a weapon of the many-faced god, though she may deny it, she was in a way completing the god's vengeance. Bonus, the Long Night book Gilly was reading, which is about the last time the others came down to attack the occupants of the Seven Kingdoms. So that was my list, but 10 is just the tip of the iceberg. There were tons more. So what was your favorite callback, reference, or Easter egg in this episode that wasn't on this list? Let me know in the comment section below. Please like, subscribe, and come back for more videos.